Okay, so welcome back to my channel, y'all. I got the tea for y'all. Excuse the rustling that's going on. We just went through Hurricane Helen. But anyways, here we go. So chapters 8 to 16 have gotten heated. What I mean, chapters 8 to 16 then got it heated. This is where the storyline for me becomes a 10 out of 10. It becomes like a 10 out of 10. But for the chapter's sake, man, if I had a higher than 10 rating for the chapters, I would. But I'm giving these chapters 5 book talks as well, because this shit was crazy. Like, it just everything unfolded. Everything that I thought was gonna happen in the last in everything I predicted in my last video pretty much came true this video. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we got a few talking point moments. Our girl Ava slipped up and did something she wasn't supposed to have did. And what do I mean by something you supposed to have did? Trusted somebody she shouldn't have trusted. Her ex Liam. So in 8 through 16, we get introduced to Liam and Madeline. Now Liam is Ava's ex, and Madeline is Alex's ex. And the drama between these two, the drama between these four characters really unfolds. Really, Madeline and Liam aren't really that important to the story. You just need to know them because they're mentioned. So I don't know if you remember in the last video. I don't know if I talked about it in the last video. But Liam cheated. Okay, he cheated with some girl, some rando girl. He's so able. He was sick. Long story short, she came over there with some chicken soup. Found out he was cheating. Broke up with him. Okay. Now she done moved on. It's over with. She not really phasing him. She just focusing on her career. Now, Madeline is Alex's little situationship. So Alex has situationships. He ain't really in no relationships because he don't believe in love. Of course, he claimed he don't believe in love, which I think I might have mentioned in the other one in the last video. But if not, I'm telling you now. Basically, Maddie is the Delulu girl that thinks that Alex is in a relationship with her, but it's not really no relationship, it's a situationship. He just fucking basically. They go to fancy dinners and then they drink some and then they fuck. That's it. But he's in the BDSM, tying folks up, like Christian Grey type stuff. Okay. But he don't want no attachments. Like, he don't want no girlfriends. He don't want no attachments. He not in love with nobody. He's trying to exact his revenge on his family. So, like, the people who murdered his family, he trying to get his revenge on them. Like, he's plotting to get revenge on them, all while watching slash falling for Ava secretly. But we gonna get to that later. But Madeline is basically the situationship. They just go to dinner and fuck. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all Alex and her do. It's not. It's not no really no relationship between them. And she really uses him as a status symbol. So there's not really much going on anyway, because she just uses him as a status symbol anyway. So they really use each other. It's like a use relationship. But anyway, they'll be important later on in this review. I just wanted to bring them up now so you kind of know what happened between these four characters. Now, Jessica, Ava, and Bridget, they're all at this bar. But it don't kick off like that. They start with Operation Emotion. So let me just leave off from where I left off in my last video before I get all over the place. Operation Emotion, to me, it was a success. And I'll say it was a success because she did end up pulling out all the emotions. She ended up pulling out all of the emotions. They just didn't come when she scheduled them. So it was like all the emotions she was able to pull out of him. But at the end, it to me it was successful. But in Ava's view, it wasn't successful because she felt like she couldn't really get him to feel nothing. But then she starts to figure out by the end of this whole Operation Emotions that does have feelings for her. Like, Alex really does have feelings for her, and she realizes this because of how close they get. Like in chapter 8, um, she tries to get him to feel like sadness, so she brings over 2 movies with Marley and Me and A Walk to Remember to try to see if he'll like feel sad or any of that. um it doesn't end up working. He don't end up feeling sad. She ends up falling asleep on this man couch. Ends up falling asleep on this man couch. Now they have a heated moment. There's a moment where she was on his lap and they kind of tease each other. And this is the moment where I think the first moment where she's like kind of poking at him in pride because she's trying to see if he's feeling something, but he's not feeling no kind of emotion. And she calls him a robot. It's funny because she calls him a robot, and she's poking at him and prodding at him and stuff, and he grabs a hold of her and shifts her on his lap, like almost in a straddle like type thing. They like playing, so it's really really cute, really it's like a really cute, really quick interaction, but they both are thinking about how attractive each other is. So they're thinking about how attractive each other is for like a hot second. And then she goes back to watch it. She puts Marley and Me in, and she ends up falling asleep on Marley and Me. Um, and it was raining out. And this is important to remember about this chapter. He cancels a date with Madeline, so he's supposed to go on a date with Madeline, and he stays in to watch A Walk to Remember and Marley and Me with Ava, the girl that he technically don't like, or the girl that's technically not his type. Sorry. So he cancels a whole date for a girl who's not even supposed to be his type. Anyways, this is where the story gets interesting. So he cancels a date to stay in with Ava and watch these 2 movies. As I said, well, she falls asleep on the couch, as I also just said. But he carries her upstairs because it's raining. It's pouring rain outside. So he's like, why am I going to carry her to her house and we both going to get wet? I'm just going to carry her upstairs. So he didn't want her sleeping on the couch because the couch was uncomfortable. So he put her in the bed with him. Now she's sleeping, they both sleeping. She wake up in the night terror. Like, well, she not woke yet, she still sleep, but she like has a night terror in her sleep. And this is the first time we see Alex kind of get up and actually worry about her. Like, he gets up and he's like, he thinks somebody broke in by her reaction. He thinks somebody broke in. But nobody broke in. She was having a night terror, so he couldn't wake her up. So he just watched her, and he watched her until like the night terror passed or whatever. Now these night terrors are visions that Ava has. They're flashes, much like Alex's in the first 7. Hers are night terrors. She's thinking that she's realizing that she's having flashbacks, but she thinks she's having like old memories, or like a piece of her childhood that was missing, that was coming back together, but now she recognizes it as flashbacks. So like they only come about when she's asleep, but Alex's start when he's awake or after he's like fall or something like that, like when he's like mad. Then Josh comes back in. We get to chat with Josh. He in Central America, partying away, womanizing away, and still keeping his straight A's, still keeping his internship. Now we gonna fast forward. We gonna skip ahead a little bit, because we gonna skip ahead a little bit. Now we're gonna hit the banquet. Now this one is important because this is kind of like the last emotion. It's like jealousy. They couldn't scare them, so they chalked that up. So jealousy was one, and jealousy came about like at least 2 times, but this is the second time basically Alex did not want to see Ava with nobody. Like, It was the craziest thing I ever seen. Like, wanted some dude he knew in his little group was at an alumni thing for their college, and she comes in wearing a nice dress and hair did, makeup did, dancing with one of Alex's friends. She don't realize that it's one of Alex's friends, but it's one of Alex's friends, and he knows this man is a douche. So he gets in between them two, and they're kind of dancing. He starts off mad, but then this is the second time he becomes aroused by Ava, not in the morning. So he can't make the excuses morning wood this time. They are dancing, and this is when you see both of them, their emotions kind of increase for each other. They're kind of like playing with fire with each other. He's becoming a little irritated at all her positiveness, and she's kind of like flowing with it because she's starting to like him. So she's just, instead of fighting back and just usually admitting that she doesn't have feelings for him, she's just at this point letting her emotions go wherever they're going. So she's having a good time. Now this is where Liam and Madeline both come back into frame, because you have to have the exes come back to make this make sense. So they both had to bank with both the exes. They don't run into each other though. But Alex runs into Maddie when Ava first walks in, and he breaks things off with her. Maddie can't believe she broke up with him, so she upset, or he broke up with her, so she can't believe she just got dumped, right? So Alex leaves his situationship because now she's starting to feel for him. She's starting to want more than just the situationship that they had. So he cut that quick. He broke up with her and then went to Ava earlier in the dance, and you know what I'm saying. Then Ava ends up, leaving after the friction between them two. She ends up leaving. She ends up leaving him there, stunned. And hard. So it's fun. So it's cool. But nobody can. It's cool. They wearing suits. It's a nice event. Suit and tie event. It's real cool. But as she's going down to greet more people, because she's not supposed to be there because she's not an alumni yet. She's not an alumna, as they call it, but she's not an alumni of the college yet. She hasn't graduated yet. But her friend Bridget is a princess and did graduate from Thayer University. So they both, her friend is a princess, right? So Bridget gets her invitation in using her social status. She gets this invitation in to she gets this invitation for Ava to go into the ball, basically. And basically the reason why Alex even walked up to her in the first place is because he was mad because his friends was staring at her, and she had paid for her ticket, and she told him, I'm staying. So she stayed and networked about her photography people, because she wanted, like I said, she wanted to work for the best photography people, because she's a photographer. She wants to be a professional photographer, and her dad's covering her college, but any equipment she wants, she gotta get and do all that stuff on her own. Shoot, she gotta pay for it, all that stuff. So Liam attacks, as Ava's leaving, Liam attacks her again and pins her against the wall. This time Ava headbutts him and breaks his nose. Now, outside the club, they had a little altercation. She kneed him in the lower groin area. This time he got aggressive, and he was basically trying to essay her, basically. But, like, didn't even take her clothes off, but, like, forcing himself on her in that type of, preparing for that type of situation. And he ends up getting headbutted, and his nose get broke. Okay, his nose gets all the way broken by Ava with the headbutt. And as soon as Ava headbutts him, that's when Alex, who has seen everything from the balcony, comes up, snatches Liam up, and beats him to a pulp. Now you guys might be asking me, now why would he do that? And why are we not surprised that Liam is aggressive? Because we're not. There's at least been 3 to 4 characters. Ava's brother, And two of Ava's best friends and Alex have even said, you need to be careful of Liam, because although you think he might not hurt you, he will. He might hurt you. Like, he's becoming crazy. He might stalk you, and he might hurt you. Well, Ava didn't believe none of them. So so basically she thinks she knows somebody that she don't know. She feels completely dumb, completely slow, because here she thought this person wasn't dangerous and he just tried to attack her. But even after trying to attack her and Alex driving away, she still wanted him to call the police to make sure that Liam was gonna be okay, even after all he did. So they pull off, and then after seeing Alex almost kill this man and see how cold he really was, like a glimpse of what he really was, instead of running away, she was just kind of like, this is him, you know. This all that rage, all that anger pent up, unraveling all at one time. It was scary. She wasn't scared of him, but she was scared of the anger that he held on to. And then in the car, she has one of her night terrors awake, though. This is the first night terror that she has awake. And she starts to cry as she remembers that her mom pushed her in the pool, remembering, like, her mom knew she couldn't swim, but she was going through postpartum and stuff like that because her husband had divorced her. So, you know, she got a young child and she's just been divorced and left, and she's going through a hard time. So she pushes Ava in the pool after having one of her mental breakdowns. Her dad remarries, and that's where Josh comes in, and Josh basically becomes her hero, watches out for her, looks out for her, very overprotective brother, always makes sure that she's safe for like her whole childhood all the way until now, when he has to leave to go to this internship and leaves Alex to watch her. She opens up. This was the part where I cried a little bit, but like not sobbing, crying, but like just like a tear, like, oh, that's like sad. Is when Alex asked her about what type of terror she was having, because he thought it was Liam. So he said he was basically gonna do something bad to Liam, but then she was like, no, it's not Liam, that's not why I was crying. I had one of my terrors or whatever. I had a flashback. She tried to say it was a terror, but then she stopped denying herself. She said it was a flashback. So she ended up having another one of them flashbacks in the real time, and she's ugly crying. Like, at this point, she's snotting, ugly crying, barely can speak, stuff like that. They end up at a burger joint because she's hungry. She hadn't eaten because she was too nervous to eat in front of the alumni that was there. So they went to a diner and had burgers. And then there are more guys like staring at her as they're walking in, and Alex sits in front of her. So like, she's sitting to wall, he's sitting to where like the other people who are in the restaurant can't see her, but just like see his back. Anyway, he asked her what was the whole episode in the car about. And she tells him that it was a flashback that she had, and she starts telling him about the story about how her mom pushed her in the pool and how her dad became like enthralled in his work, like he just threw himself into work. And she even talked about Liam, like she said Liam hurt me because he was another person who said he loved me who didn't. And then she chalked it up to everybody that she loves doesn't end up quite loving her back or quite giving her the love she deserves. So that's why she's so sunshiny and positive. And she gets a nickname in these chapters. She finally gets her nickname, Sunshine. Now, where does this nickname come from? Alex. This is funny. He's always joking that she sees life with rose-tinted glasses. And Ava just simply says to him, I just choose not to see the worst in people. She's like, if the worst is all you see, that's all you gonna see. She said there's a lot more positive to life. And I think those are the things that's worth living for. She 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 thinks Alex doesn't know her, but Alex ends up knowing her pretty well. Alex ends up reading her pretty well. But then there's a photo shoot where he gets his read. Technically, they reading each other, but he gets his read. And this is where Ava gets to expose that he does like her. And at this point, we are fully seeing that both of them are fully attracted to each other, and both of them realize the attraction they're having to each other. But this is the first time that Ava calls it out, like, boldly. Was at this photo shoot. She agreed to Krav Maga lessons for protection, and he agreed to a photo shoot. So he did the photo shoot, but to unravel some emotion, she kind of like throws him for. She's kind of taunting him with his emotions because she's trying to get him to feel something on the camera now, not for no operation or nothing, but just to take photos. She wants to get him reacting, which he don't do. So she was like kind of teasing him at the photo shoot, and he was like, well, I know you like me. And she was like, he was like, I could have you basically without even spending a dime because you already like me this much. And it's like he's staring at her, like he's studying the way her body reacts to him, his stare, everything that's going on. And she goes, yeah, but you want me too. She said, that's the truth. But she said, you know what's also true? The fact that you want me too. And he was like, haha, I think you're funny. And she was like, no, I'm being serious. She was like, you care about me. You like me. And that's okay. And before they could, and the sexual tension was sexual tensioning. Both of them was aroused. He was aroused. She was too. And so they have to get back to this photo shoot. So he snaps her attention back to the photos. He's like, he don't want her to know he has feelings because he has this other plan that he hasn't given up on. Like this whole time in the back of his head, he's got this revenge plot. So the revenge plot is that he's gonna murder the people that killed his family. So he's just putting everything in place, like he did in the last 7 chapters. But now, in these chapters, he's not that far away. I'm looking at your slipper. So, anyways, they end up. I forgot where I was at. Oh, here we are. They end up, figuring out that they like each other, that they both like each other. Now, they do the photo shoot. She thinks he's hot. She's going through the photos. She's staring at him. And she catches a photo of, him, visibly seeing the attraction to her on his face through a camera. It's just a photo that speaks to her. She comes across one. Then he's on the phone with his uncle, and this is where he goes back to the revenge plot, and his uncle notices that he's not as excited, he's not excited that he's about to get his wish, that he's about to do what he's been saying that he was going to do for, the whole book now. He's getting close to the revenge time. But then he starts thinking about what's going to happen after his revenge plan is done. He's just stacking his Legos, but now he's thinking, well, after I get my revenge, what's next? What do people do after revenge? He was like, this is the only thing that has been powering me. This is the only thing that I have been wanting. But now he has feelings for Ava. So now he's starting to fall in love. And I think the fact that he's starting to fall in love with Ava has got him kind of questioning what's next for him. And I think that's so awesome. And I'm glad that you get to see that early on. Then we do a little bit more of like, not too much of a time jump, but like maybe like a second later, in like the 16th chapter towards the end, he clicked, like after he gets off the phone with his uncle, he clicks the notification on Instagram and he sees a video of two people. Now, and he sees that one of the people is Madeline, and he's about to jump, and he's about to jump and in his car. He's about to jump in his car to go to wherever that person is, because I'm predicting that the other person that he saw on that camera was either him or a video with Madeline maybe going to, I'm thinking maybe Madeline is going to approach Ava. Why would I think this? Because when you just break up with a girl as crazy as Madeline was, there's hell to pay. And since she told everybody that Alex was who she was dating, and then he just breaks up with her at the banquet, you can imagine that does some damage. So I say this to say what my predictions are. So my predictions are, from chapter 16 to 25, I think it's going to be, this is where Ava meets Madeline. And I think this is where she's gonna have one of those jealousy moments that Alex has been having this whole time. I think she's gonna have one of those moments where she's gonna be mad, okay, that she's finding out about this ex, okay. But I don't think she's gonna be too mad. Like, I don't think it's gonna be a deal breaker. But so far, that's the cliffhanger we off on. We off on the cliffhanger of not knowing who Alex sees on the camera. It's Madeline and somebody else, but we don't know who the other person is. We will find that out in chapter 17. But the reason why I'm gonna go into a little bit of why I gave my review, why I gave another 5 stars, it's because it's doing what it's supposed to do, okay? You're getting to see the emotions between the characters develop more. Like I said, like I thought the first 7 chapters were a dive into how they feel. Now they're aroused about each other, and it's only the 16th chapter in this book. It's only chapters 8 to 16 really getting heavy about the connection that these two have, about the physical connection that these two are having, and now they're becoming aware of it. And I just love that for them, and I love that they're realizing that they like each other now rather than later. Even though Alex is like, he's liking the idea of falling in love with Ava, but he's still not believing it, because his whole thing is, I don't believe in love. But I think he's gonna end up coming around. I think he's already starting to come around. Hanging out with Ava, being around Ava is making him want more out of life than just revenge and his company. So that's what I think. I think we gonna see a little bit more. I think we might get a little spicy scene or two. That's what my predictions are. But we'll have to see. I think this was a good spot to leave off. So I will come back and tell you what happens, if anything happens, between Maddie and the mystery person. And then we will see if my predictions was anything close to right. We gonna see if Alex gets his revenge. If Alex gets his revenge, what happens? We gonna talk about all of that. But yeah, this chapter got the rating it got because it got deeper into the connection between Ava and Alex, like I thought it was, but like not too deep, but we're hitting arousal feelings, so like spicy deep. We're getting to that part now. We're starting to get there, at least in my prediction. Thank you for watching. Come back for the next 8 chapters. I'm on chapter 17 right now, so 17 to 25. That'll be the next review for the 3rd video. Sorry if this review is a little long, but there was a lot to catch you guys up on. There was a lot to fill in.